Hi everyone, welcome back to Create CRM Ticket System from Scratch using MERN Stack tutorial series. Today we are going to integrate reset password feature in our application. Some of the backend API has been done in previous tutorials, and today especially we're going to focus on front end of the application where we will have our reset password form and we will connect to our API server endpoint, and also we're going to use React Redux toolkit to manage our network status. So let me quickly show you what we are going to do here. So what we want to achieve today is when you go to our reset password here, we would be able to, let's say if we send some invalid email, we can send it. And if we send this email that is not valid, we will get error message saying email must be valid. And you can see in our state what's happening as well because we are using React Redux store. And let's say if we send the email valid, so the valid email is I think e2@e.com. If we send that, it says if the email exists in our database, the password pin will send shortly. This will message we get regardless if email exists or not in our database, just to prevent the privacy of the email. And now if we go in our console of our backend API, we have integrated our ethereal email. That's where we're gonna receive our one-time reset pin, our OTP here. So with that OTP, now we should be able to change our password. So if we just send random number 5-6-digit pin, so say unable to update the password, please try again later because pin is not valid. Now let me get the valid pin from here and send this valid pin, and if we submit it, now your password has been updated. Now this password, you can log in with the new password. So that's our main goal. So there's a lot going behind here. It's gonna be a little long tutorial series, guys, but if you stay all the way to till the end, you're gonna get a lot of value from here. Hi guys, if you are new here and if you don't know me, my name is Prem Acharya from Australia. I create tutorial related to full stack web development, tutorial like this. If you like this tutorial, please don't forget to give me some thumbs up. And if you want to receive more tutorial related to full stack web development, then please do subscribe the channel. With that saying, let's jump into the computer and do some coding. Okay guys, I have my project folder, CRM ticket system, and my both client API and front API here. If you are following along, you should have all the code with you. If you are not, then the code is in Git Repo. The link for the code repo is in description below. Check that out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open both the project inside one VS Code. If you think you're gonna get confused, maybe you can open one project per VS Code, but in my case, I'm gonna open both of them in my VS Code so that I can switch between the file within one VS Code only. Okay, here's my VS Code, and here's my client API folder and the CRM frontend folder. So I want to run that first. So if I do just ls, my VS Code gonna open in the root directory. So I need to go inside client API to run the client application. So I'm gonna say npm start, and I'm gonna open another terminal window. So cd into my CRM ticket system, cd, okay, content, and here I'm gonna do npm start. I think that's the code I have, I'm pretty sure. If not, you can always go and check from your package.json in your script. You should have that. Okay, our backend API is working, up and running already. So this means it's working. Just gonna put side by side so that you guys can see it while we're coding. There you go. Okay guys, our application is loaded here. This is our application. So today our focus is making our forgot password. This feature is integrated with our backend API, and then make sure user can reset the password. So you see this form is basically in our main entry page, but I want to strip this form out and make a separate reset password, separate URL for the reset password. So I'm gonna quickly write here somewhere our workflow of our tutorial today, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so this is what our plan is. Let's go create the password reset page. So I'm gonna go in our folder directory, and now we are working under the client API. We'll work under the CRM frontend. Yeah, I'm gonna go under the src folder. We have something called page here. So in page, I'm just gonna go and create a new page here similar to this entry page. So let's make it bigger for now so that you can see. Since I want to utilize this background and the way the form looks, maybe I can do is I can copy whole folder and paste it here. Now I'm gonna rename this to password reset. And inside the files, I'm going to change the name as well. So the component, I'm going to say password OTP form. I don't know, maybe just like that. And here I'm going to give the style sheet the same thing. Yeah, I'll just change the file name. I don't like that. I'm going to say OTP. Okay, since we changed our style sheet here, now we want to import that style sheet inside the password OTP form here. So I'm going to update this one so that we're referring to our local style sheet here. Okay, so I don't need anything at the moment. So since now we have created our page, let's go to our app.js where we have handled all of our incoming router. App.js in our front end. So here we handle everything including our main entry page. Let's copy that. Now here I'm gonna change the path name. Maybe I'll say password reset. And we import that component that we just created here. Okay, and make sure we import that. We need to import that from, I'm just gonna do under entry because they are kind of next to each other in our application. So that's inside the pages actually / folder, and inside that we have this password OTP form. So make sure we have our component name is as we have defined here. Let's go to that page component here and let's change the name of the component because it's just saying entry. So this is not entry anymore, and just leave everything. Just make sure it works first. Okay, just make sure the path is right. It's showing an error. Let me redo the path. Maybe the path is not right. Maybe the spelling error there. Okay, now all good. So if we go to our app here, app.js, where we are, so basically we are going to load this component, page component, when we visit to this apps, this URL of our web page. So if I just put there, so we have our same thing here, but we only want to load our forget password here. So I'm gonna go down to, we don't need app just now, we can close that. Go to our password OTP form page where we have a switching between the form. So for now I don't want anything. I'm gonna delete this switch part, and we don't need this login form info, and I don't need this one, and we can close this one as well. So all we need is just the reset password form that we saw earlier. So we don't need any of that. We don't need form switcher, and just leave the handle on submit at the moment. So it should load our password reset only. There you go. We have our design still there, and when we click on login, so it's probably not gonna work because in the form itself we have put this on click event. So I'm just gonna remove that on click here and maybe just put the path to our entry like a root folder. So whenever we click on there, now we can go to the login entry page. Whenever we click now, let's fix that too. We need to go to our login page. And whenever we click on our forget password, instead of on click, we don't need all this. So we just need to say we visit to our reset password reset actually. So now whenever we click this, it will take us to our password reset page, and there we only have this thing. Now the form is switching. Basically it's the not component transition is a whole page loading new page. So in our reset password, this thing is all okay. Now let's connect this one with our backend. I'm going to show you what is our backend first. So let me close all here so that we don't get confused. If I just go to our client API, we have that rest.http where we have the collection of all the API endpoint. So password reset request endpoint. So if we send, let me send it here. If I send the request to here with the valid email, so I will get the message saying if the email is exists in our database, the password reset pin will be sent shortly to the email address. So basically we are using Ethereal. So Ethereal is, if you don't know what is Ethereal is like a fake email server where you can kind of do all your application testing with the node mailer. So it will give you the email simulation, like you sending and receiving email. So if we are to implement this application with the real SMTP server, so the email should send to the client. Let's hook this part. So what I'm gonna do was that, and I'm going to just leave that. And now we need to go back in our front end. Let's flow the backend away. Front end in API, because we're going to call the API to this. We need to call this API endpoint. So we have a separate folder called API. Here we are basically, what we're doing is we're calling the API endpoint from here, so that we're separating the functionality from our component. So I'm just going to copy one of these so that I don't have to type everything from beginning, but we're going to open a new file called password API, so that all the password related tasks and API connecting to the backend server will be done through this file. So we need XEO to make a HTTP request, and this is our root API. So if you remember, our endpoint is this one. Let's copy this one anyway, and it's a post method. Okay, so here we have this is the request where we need to send our email address to get the OTP. So this is our root endpoint. That means we only need to concatenate this part of the URL. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to delete all of this one and say const OTP request IDQ API, or just say URL. And now we need the root URL, and we need to concatenate this specific endpoint, so that now we can call, okay, I'm gonna just modify this function and then to explain you what's going on here. So now we need to export and create a new function that basically calls API endpoint to request the OTP. So I said request OTP, password OTP maybe. And here we're going to receive email. We have to, otherwise we won't be able to know where to send the OTP. And we're going to return a promise. So whenever we use whenever we want to return promise, this is how we do. We say return new promise, and we only either return result, means everything is okay. Reject means if there is something wrong in our system or on our code, or if there is an error. So we are using async because we want to wait while we getting the request from our server. So we are running this in try catch block so that we can catch if we have an error. And we're going saying result equals to await, because we have say async here in our immediate parent function. And XEO dot, we need to do post method to the URL endpoint. So basically when you do XEO, you need two parameters to provide. The first one is the URL endpoint, and second one is the data. So we don't need this. So imagine like that. So you're supposed to send data here. This is XEO.post is a method of the XEO, and here first one is the URL endpoint, second one is the data. Data always goes as an object, so we have to send email. Email is like that, but since the name and value has the same variable, so we can just say email here. So once we have a result, so what I'm gonna do here, normally the result will hold the data. Result holds a lot of other network status as well and information. So here we only are interested in data that is coming from server. So we're going to say result dot data, or we can even destructure here. It's straight away data. So from data, what we are interested is if data dot status, because the result will have a status. If triple equals to success, then we will resolve the object with the status. Actually we can just the data will have I think data will come with the status and the message. We can simply resolve all data. We don't need to do anything. We don't even need to test success or error here. I'm pretty sure we can check that. We can do console.log data. Let's see how data gonna come, and then we will response based on that. We don't need this. And if we have an error, so what we're gonna do, we're going to response as a status error, and the message is the message that error holds. The error that message holds the error message. So you're gonna see what's coming. Let's leave this part here and let's go back in our form first. So there are a few things to be done in our form. So we only created a page here, and we have imported the form. We haven't checked what's in the form. So this is previous one. So let's go to, I'm gonna leave it open and go to reset form. And reset form is a lot of things going on here. So basically in our reset form, we have an input field where we have an email address and the submit like this. Here you can type email and send it to reset password. So on submit button here, let's handle on submit. Where is the form? Handle on submit. So handle on submit basically coming from parent here. So since we are going to use Redux toolkit, some of the data we are going to hold in the Redux store state and some data we are going to hold in our local state, especially the form input data. And we don't need to get this handle on submit event from the parents. So we can simply just call this reset password component and we handle everything within here. We will do something else later to switch the form. So what I'm going to do, leave the switch form switcher and remove this one. And we don't need, I think, state here as well. I'm going to remove that. And we don't need this login form. Okay, I'm just going to leave everything here and we go to our reset back to password. So we are basically not receiving anything. We can remove all of that and we don't need to check any props type because we are not receiving anything. And we're going to still get some error. Don't worry about that. So on submit here, we supposed to handle the, let's create that function first. So we will receive the event actually whenever we submit the form. So in that event, what we can do is event.prevent default to prevent the default behavior of the browser. So whenever do submit, click on the submit button, the form supposed to submit somewhere and page supposed to reload. So we don't need that to happen. Okay, that's out of the way. Now we can basically call this API method and send here and call from here straight away, or we can create a separate function or action and we can do from there. So since we want to learn about the Redux toolkit properly, let's handle this part from the Redux way. Okay, we're going to create something called Redux store, Redux slice and Redux action to handle this part so that you understand how Redux toolkit works and you can implement that feature in any way. So we want to do something. So let's leave this one here. We're going to create something called password reducer. So I'm going to go in the same folder and let me show you here how we did in the registration page. We have like a registration slicer. How we do this? We create the slicer so that they will turn into the action. So this is how we work with the Redux toolkit. So let me type out and show it to you. I'm gonna just save this file. So this is we're going to call and handle through the Redux store. And now on handle change, let's call this on handle change. Excuse me. So we're going to receive event here as well. So that event will have our input field and data. If we can destructure that, it will be inside our either target. Let's create our local state to hold that receive the email when we are typing in our form. So I'm gonna go and import. We need to import this, use state in order to use it, and we need to create our local state here. Oops, sorry guys, this one we've been typing in wrong place. So this is the component declaration. Everything has to be done inside the component before we return any HTML here. So I'm just gonna put it there, and here let's create our local state. Let's call it email. So if you do use state, you get this bracket one where it gives us the code snippet. Yeah, I can call email, and since the function one, I want to write this one in camel case. And the email in our initial state is empty string. We don't have anything. And let's pass this email down to our component again as a value so that whatever we type, we can see. The way we're doing this one is called control method. It means it's a controlled input field because we are controlling every input here, receiving in our local state, and then we providing back to the input field so that we can see it. So now if we save that, not yet. So now since we have an email, let's put that in our state. The way we put in our state is simply calling set email and just pass the name. Actually not name value. So we don't even need the name here. That's it. And let's see why form is not working. What's the error? So set form load is not defined in line number 22 of password OTP page. Line number 22, set form load. Oops, we don't need that at the moment. I can just comment out and save that. This was part of the cleaning up before. So our form is there. Now whenever we type, the form is working. Now on submit, we haven't done anything. Let's go back to our password reset component. So on submit handle, we can simply just console log our email that we have in our local store. If I can type and talk, that would be great. So if we go to our console, there is no error. That's good. There are a lot of warning though. So if we type some email and send it, we have that email here. I just want to make sure it has a require, so that we need to type it. Okay, great. So now we received the email. So remember before we created a password reset API here. Now we want to send that email to here, but instead of sending directly from the component, now let's do a little bit long work. Okay, but that's better practice. According to the Redux toolkit, they prefer put the slice next to the feature. So let's follow them. Let's say I'm gonna say password slice. Yeah, that should do .js. And basically this is gonna be something similar to our registration form slice. This is, I'm just putting here just for me to see. So like we're just gonna have similar, like we have an initial state and then we need to create some reducer here. I'm gonna show you how we do that. So go to our password slice. So first we need to import create slice from our Redux toolkit. I'm just copying this one to speed up the typing process. Okay, once we import our create slice, let's create a slice for our reset password. So we can create a function called const. I'm gonna give name just password reset. So this one will create the slice. Sorry, the create slice will create the slice. So whatever we do here, we are storing our password reset variable. So the create slice takes a huge object. That object has at least 3 things. First is the name. I'm gonna call it to password reset. And the second one is initial state, OTP state. I haven't created that. Let's create that on the top here. So basically it's gonna hold few things. I want to see if it's loading this one for checking if we have got our response back from server or not. I'm gonna say by default false, so that we can show spinner later based on this. And we always gonna have status is empty and error, oops, and the message is empty as well. So this is the message we're going to store that is coming from our server. So okay, this is our initial state, and the third one is the most important one. It's a reducers. So this has to be reducers here, and inside we can put multiple reducers. So this reducer now we are creating will turn into the action creator later, and you can call in our action file to make update our state. So the first one I'm gonna call is OTP IDQ for request pending one-time password reset pin. So this one is a function. Let's create the anonymous function for this. Okay, so we can have 3 of this. I'm gonna make 3. 1, 2, 3. So one is OTP pass request is pending, and the another one is success, and the third one is fail, because whenever we are requesting data from the server, we can first stage we always pending, second stage we get succeed, and the third one is maybe we got failed, we couldn't make it because of that, like maybe network error or server side error, or there are many things we always encounter. So now here, in order for us to update this data here, we need to receive state as a parameter. So basically state is a copy of our local state, so we can always draft as a local state. Now we can always update that, so we don't directly mutating our state data. So first thing, I'm going to say state dot is loading is true equals to, actually, because now we have started requesting the OTP and everything else is fine. And so once we succeed, we don't need this comma, and once we have a successful response back from our server, now we can update this whole thing again. So I'm just gonna put that and make sure, oops, no. So again, here we're going to receive state and also we're going to receive action here. The action holds actual data. The data will come inside the payload, so we can destructure it here so that we can utilize it here inside. So A is load. By the time we received response from server, now it's loading should be false, and the status we will be success because this is the success condition, and we need to do state dot, otherwise we can access to those property of state. And the third one is the state dot message. So message is the message that we are receiving from server, so we will receive here as a payload. Here we can just pass that. So we have our status is loading false, status success, and message is payload. So I can do same thing on our fail. Here I can simply do, now this one is error. Yeah, everything else same. So that means in our payload we need to receive just a message, we don't need anything else. You can combine response back and then just get the status and the payload straight away from the action later, and then just put both of them here. But for me, I like this way, it's more cleaner. So we have a three different reducers that working in our three different status of the network, pending, success, and fail. So we updating our state data accordingly here. So we have created this one. Now we need to export few reducers and the action creator, like how we did in our user registration. We can basically destructure reducer and actions. So basically everything here is a reducer, and the action are the action that are defined here. These reducers will turn into actions. So let's do that. I'm gonna destructure that first before we exporting them. Const destructuring from this main password reset here. Here we are destructuring reducer and the actions. Now we can export reducer whole thing as a default, so that we can call that inside our Redux store and then store all our state there. And we can do inline export for the actions. So I'm gonna say export const, we'll get back to here, that's from actions. So what we have in our actions, as I said before, all the reducer will turn into our action creator. Now we can just pass that OTP success and OTP request fail. So now we have created this one. So it's not going to do anything by itself. This is only going to update the our whole state. So if I show you in our Redux store, if you just see in our state, we only have a, can you see? Maybe not, hang on. Yeah, we only have this one, but we don't have anything related to password. So in order for us to hook our password slice into our state of the Redux, we need to import this user reducers from here and export from here and import in our state. So let me just close this one so we can see. So if we go scroll down in our store.js, here we can import that the password slice. It's inside the component, inside the reset password reset, and inside there we have a password slice. Let's import that as a password reducer, and now we can pass this password reducer to our reducer here so that store will understand us. So let's give it a password only. We can give a name as a password, and let's pass this reducer. If I save this, it should show us now the store. Okay, we have an error. It's basically saying that the reducer password returning undefined, nothing is returning there. So let's go to the password reducer. I think in our initial state we haven't provided initial state keyword. Yeah, we have an initial state, so we should be passing this one as an initial state, otherwise the create slice won't understand. So you can fix this way. Yeah, or I prefer just giving one name and pass the initial object name that. So that should fix. And now if we go in our state and see down here, so you have now the password state where you have is loading and the status with the message here. Great, there you go. Now what we can do, we can create an action which calls our API endpoint and updates this, calls this action creator to update this state here. Let's work on that. So first thing, what I'm gonna do, let's go create an action for this password, like how we did action for our registration form as well here, like that. I'm gonna create a new file in our next to our password slice. Create a file name called password action.js, and inside here we need to import all the slice we created before. I'm just gonna copy. So import. That's from the same file called password slice. Let's remove the sidebar, and we have a OTP pending request, OTP request pending success and fail condition. Now let's create a action that actually calls our API endpoint. So let's say const send password reset OTP, maybe that makes more sense. And again, remember we have to receive email, so this one going to be high order function. So we're going to receive a function called dispatch here, and then we'll dispatch the other function. We already talked about this intensively before. If you are not sure or if you forgot, please go back and check one of the tutorial from earlier. So we're going to receive email and also going to receive dispatch, because we are going to dispatch this function from our component. So here what we're gonna do, we're going to run code everything in try catch block, so that if we have any error we can catch them. So first thing first, if we have an error, we're going to send dispatch the fail. So dispatch this fail with the message saying error dot message. That's error holds message. And here what we're gonna do is, that's not email, it should be email. And here now we're going to first dispatch our pending status, because as soon as we do request, that means our status is pending. Now let's receive the result back from our API call. Remember we called API call before. I don't need that, I can close it. In our API here we created this, go to API folder, password API. We have this request password OTP function that calls our API here, and we are returning the data. So actually here we can reject error straight away, because we are handling this part in the other function. So yeah, and in data we will receive email and status and message. So go back in our action. So we need to import that method first, or function, before we can call it, and which is inside our, I think we need to go to our API directory. Yeah, and inside API directory we just go to the password API, and here we call this request password. So now let's call this request password and send that email. That's all it expects. And since we're going to need this one before we do anything else, let's make this one as a async wait, because we are receiving promise this one from the request password opt function. So we need to use async here in order for us to make this function await. Now we have a result. So if the result dot status, you know what, I'm going to just destructor here only. Easy. Now I can just say status straight away. If status equals to success, now we can dispatch this method with the message, and we can just return from here. Otherwise we can dispatch the fail, because if the status is like, let's say, error coming from the server, and we can send the message, and we only need to receive the status and message from this method. When we go here, let's optimize that if we have to. No, this everything is good. Now let's save that, save this one, and now we can call this function and dispatch from our component, which is password reset component here. So before, in order for us to dispatch this function from our onHandle submit, we need to bring a hook from our React Redux, so that it will connect our Redux store with our application. So use dispatch. Let's define this uses dispatch in variable so that we can use easily dispatch anything here. So now we can use this dispatch to dispatch the function that we have just created in our action here. So in order for us to use that in our action component, first we need to import that. I'll just import all the component below the function. So import, that's from our same folder, which is inside the password action. So we have this send password reset request OTP API calling function that now we can dispatch in our onHandle submit. I'll just quickly go over it after this if it's too confusing for you guys. And we need to send the email which is in our state. So we were working backward before. Now let's go forward and understand what's happening after we fixing the error. Is not exported from our password action. Yes, we are not exporting. There you go. Should fix the error. Make sure everything is working fine here, and we have state with the password, everything working fine. What happening here? In our password reset component, we can change our email, put our email address, and we can receive that email address in our local state, and we can submit that button to submit this email so that we can request the OTP. So this one will be run in, it will invoke this handle on submit function where we can receive the event, and we do event that prevent so that default, so that the web page doesn't load. And after that, we're going to dispatch. The dispatch is coming from React Redux to bridge between the Redux store and the application. So we are dispatching that function, that action, and sending the email address which we have in our state. And in this action, we are receiving email address as well as a dispatch as a high order function. And here we are dispatching. Basically, now we are calling the this reducer or action creator to update our state. So in every different stage, we are updating the local state. So you see here payload and payload. That is actually we are passing from our action here. Like whenever we dispatching this, for example, dispatching OTP request success, OTP request success, and we passing this message. This is the message we are receiving as a payload here. And now we are getting this response back from our request password OTP, which is the API, and we're sending email there. So this is called not API, this is calling our actual API in our backend server. And then once everything goes well, we will receive, well or wrong, but we will still receive the data, and we are basically receiving result, and inside that result we have data. We only are interested in data, so we destructuring the data and just console logging to see ourselves, as well as resolving from here. And if we have any error, we just rejecting the response from here. So everything is binded. We haven't tested. Let's see what happens. So it would be okay to open and see in our server side as well. Let's see if there is an error or not. Sorry, this is just like that. Now now we can see our state here. Okay, so if I just put email address and send it, now we have our status updated. So if you see in our state, you can see it's saying is loading is false, status nothing, message nothing, and state nothing. So there is something I see OTP request fail, but I did not see the is loading first, because that has to happen before this. So if we go to our action, make sure we are dispatching something here. We are just dispatching that, but not the function. Make sure now it works. Let's try quickly, send something. So now you can see first OTP request is pending. When it's pending, just changing the is loading from false to true. And now next action is firing, which is the password reset, OTP request fail. And now it is updating our state from true to false and passing the message and the status as well. It would be nice to see this error message up here somewhere, right? Let's put it that. So go to the password component, and here we can import a component from the React Bootstrap called alert. That gives us all the nice background and the nice little container to display the message. So I'm just gonna display right above the form, I guess. Yeah, that would be okay. And alert takes few things. So first, the message. So we haven't got the message from our state. We have message in our state though, but how do I get the message out of this state? Yeah, you would have already guessed that, because we have done before. We again need to call another hook called useSelector. So useSelector will give us access to whole Redux object. We don't need this. And from there, we can only return whatever we are interested in. So we will have access to everything here, but we are going to only access to our password. So I'm gonna do here, maybe after the state, local state. Const, we will destructure that in a second. So useSelector will give us a whole state. From there, we can only access to password. So that means we are returning this password object, and here we can destructure is loading status and message directly here, so that we can use in our application. So now what we can do is, I think we can just put this on the side. Okay, there's a spelling mistake, I need to fix that. Alert must be alert this. And inside here now we can pass the message, which we just got from our store. And we will only run this one if there is a message, okay? There is any message. So to do that, we need to write in the JavaScript, say if we have message, then only run this alert. So let's wrap that. Let's take this out and wrap this alert and save that. And this alert will take props as for the background color. So the way we provide is we say variant and plus. I'm gonna put the condition. So if our status equals to success, then there's a utility class called success to get that green background. Otherwise we'll pass the danger to get the kind of red background. There is something it's not happy about. Okay, because the syntax is wrong. This is a ternary operator, guys. So if this condition is true, return this, otherwise return that. And this must be lowercase, and save that. And also we can put spinner here as well. So like how we did here, if we have is loading status true, if we have is loading true, then we can do spinner. And spinner takes I think spinner takes two props. The first one is the variant. So what color we want definitely primary, which is blue. And the second one is the animation type. I'm gonna say border. So this one give us the circle thing, and make sure it's imported. I think it's automatically imported here. Now if we try to do something, you're gonna see a few things happening here. You see that quick little flash with the spinner, because when the status is pending, it will have that quick spinner. If we get the result back from server, we get this error message. Email must be valid because we have not provided .com here, and reset that. And if there is an email exist in your database, it will the reset password will be sent shortly. So I think what I want to do, this is because why we saying sometimes people can, let's say in real life case scenario, if you have some website that you wanted to know whether somebody else exists in there, you can always try and see if we can do password reset, try to do it or not. So by like, if you provide like a true message here, let's say email doesn't exist, that means they will come to know this customer don't have account with them. Or if they say password sent is true like that, that means they will for sure think that the email address is existing in their account. But if we just always send, if there is email is in the database, then we'll send the password reset pin. That means regardless email exists or not. So that means they won't guess whether the account is exist or not. So in that way I put this, but I think we need to change this background to green. Seems like from the server we receiving in our console as well. See, we are receiving status as error. I know why, I remember. If we now just go and fix that quickly. So if we go in our server, now I'm gonna work in the client API, which is, remember our API endpoint. This one goes inside our user router, and here somewhere we have a password reset. I'm just gonna say password reset pin. So here what we are basically doing, we already created this one in one of the previous series if you remember. So see, we are checking if whether the email exists in our database or not. So if email does not exist in our database, we're sending error message. But I would prefer instead still send regardless of anything. So I'm gonna remove this part and then just return this one as a success and save that. So now it should say in green. Okay, that's since the server is updating. Okay, it's supposed to be status, not state. I think I messed it up in the spelling in our slice. Guys, I'm bad speller. Okay, supposed to have a status, but instead we have state. That's wrong and that's wrong. Now if we save that, that should fix our problem. We have an error, our status is error. Now let's say if we have this, now it's saying status success, and say if email addresses exist in the database, the password reset pin will be sent to you shortly. And yeah, that's done. If you can see our action creator here, now you can firing all the actions and having different state updated. There you go. One half is done. Now every time we send the proper email, we will receive this pin, which we tried, and we can try one more time as well. I know this is not valid email. The valid email is, I think, E2E something. Let me go grab it from our backend rest.http file. This is the valid email we're using, fake email. And if I send that, request that, now wait in our server console, and it will tell us if it is sending the email or not. There you go. And if we open this, and we will have the pin. Now we need to have the way to put this pin and the add new password and also the email address and send to this URL endpoint. So okay, one half is done, guys. Let's work on our second half. Another half. Okay, so let's work on our form here. What we want it to happen. So as long as we get this success response back from server, let's hide this input field and put this email address on the top somewhere, or rather let's reload another form where we can input our PIN and new password. So I just want to quickly show you what we want to make looks like. So whenever we have a reset password, in our registration, if you remember, we have this, I think we broke something in our registration. Seems like something we messed it up. Let me quickly go in our app.js, check it. Entry. It is our registration. Did I just change it? I think I just incidentally I might have messed it up. I'm just gonna go and change one of this entry to registration and pass registration. Is that the registration only? Make sure it's spelling correct. Just pass that. Okay. In our registration form, you see this password and confirm password with this validation. So I wanted to put this feature as well, so that we force kind of customer to put the exact this strong password. So what I'm gonna do, I'm probably gonna copy this whole thing from this registration form and just put this two part with this following list and the submit form, and also one of the input field for the PIN number, and remove everything else. Okay, go here inside our password reset and create another component here. I'm gonna say reset password form. The name may be a little bit confusing, reset password and then reset password form. But reset password only does the OTP request, and actually I'm gonna say not reset, I'm gonna say save password form. I would rather say update password form component. And here I'm gonna do is, as I said before, I'm gonna need some of this registration that component stuff. So I am copying that. Actually, I'm copying whole form from registration, and we will make some change here. The first thing I want to change is the name of the component itself, which is gonna be here or here. So Control D to select both. So I'm gonna say update password, that's enough. So this must be updated in the bottom as well somewhere. Actually, update password form, just make sure we are giving unique name. So we might have some error, but we will check that in a second. So first thing what I want to do is just remove few unnecessary input field. One unit field inside the form, one form group, two form group. Okay, I don't need this. I'm going to keep this number to pin. Just let's pass this as a pin input field, and placeholder pin, I'll just say OTP. We'll come back and change all of this one later. And we don't need email address, we don't need company name, we don't need address. Yes, we do need password, we have to work on this. And confirm password, and the password verification with all the condition which we already have set up. We will go through later once we start working on it. And we don't need this last row as well. And let's import this one in our component page, sorry, password reset page here. So that should be, I'm just gonna put underneath here first, and let my ID to import for me if it can. If not, I will do my own. Okay, yeah, it's imported from the ID imported for me here. Now if I go to our, okay, can resolve user registration action in password reset component. Okay, let's go back here again one more time, and anything we are importing is not gonna be available. New user registration, we don't need this. So wherever we're using that, we need to remove that. We don't need that. And we are using in our dispatch somewhere here, we don't need that. And if I save it, and our form is working now. So if in our reset password, see if we comment this out, go to the page so that we know what we're working on. So here, if I just put the reset password form, we have this reset password form, and if we just put that, we have this user pass registration here. Yeah, we can, okay, instead of OTP, we can make it phone, OTP, password, confirm password, and submit button. So let's switch this behavior, this switch form, based on whenever we have our X in our state, in our password. If we have our status success, maybe just switch this one in our case for now. Or maybe we create another variable called show which form to show. Let me show you what I mean. So I want to go to our slicer, password slice. Here I want to make another variable just to check the condition. I want to show maybe do show OTP form. That's our initial form. I'm going to say true for now, and maybe we can create another action creator that will basically changes this form based on what form we want to see. So, or we can basically, whenever we have update success here, we can update this one to true to show another form. So I'm gonna say status equals to state.show form, equals to false. Basically what we're saying is if we get request success in our API call from OTP, that means this OTP form is false. That means we can show another form. Let me show you what does that mean. So if we go to our state now, by default we have show OTM form is true. Let's put that let's get the state value in our slice in our component of our password object component. You remember how we use selector from React Redux? Use selector. Okay, so a lot of things going on here. I'm not sure we're going to use them or not yet. I'm just going to remove that first. So I'm going to, I think we should clean up some of this first. Yeah, let's clean up some of this first for our reset password, whatever we need before we start working. So we only need these 3 things. So based on that, in our component, in our initial state, we only need the pin. I'm just gonna leave empty. We don't need any of this, and including address. So we only need 3 things, 1, 2, 3. And we need password verification error. We also need is length, is upper, has number. Okay, yeah, we need that. And update password form, that's the name of the thing. We need dispatch later on, just leave that. And we need new user. We don't need that new user. We only need to get the pin. So in new user, what we have here, new pin. I'm gonna just say OTP, just like that, because we want to receive that OTP pin. Initially we got nothing, empty or null. I'll just leave empty. And we need password here from use selector. I'm not sure what else I'm gonna get it from. Yeah, I think we're gonna need, yeah, is loading status and message, as well as that one is OTP something. What was that? Let me go and check in our form again. So OTP form, we're gonna need that. So if you remember, what's the password coming from our state dot password. Effect, if we need, we'll come back later. And on handle change, whenever we have input handle change, we need that. Name, yeah, we'll name, not new user anymore. Okay, instead of OTP, actually we have created our initial state for the pin password and confirm password. Let's use them. So now we can pass this our initial state to our state here, but I want to change this one OTP. Instead of OTP, I'm going to say new password. All right, set new password. Okay, and this is the password. Okay, so we're going to use this set new password to update our input. So on handle change, here we need to update that. So whatever we have there, we already spread out here, and then every time we input something new, we will update here, so that we have our new pin, new password, and password reset data here. And based on that, we are checking our the password strength. I'm not going to go over this here, guys, because we already done this one in previous tutorial. If you want to, you can go have a look, and we can, yeah, and then you understand how it works. But it's just like we're using regex to check the whether the string content the criteria we have put or not. Everything else is there, so yeah, that should be okay. And on handle submit, we are doing prevent default to default the form thing, and here we're gonna get from not new user. Our now new state is a new password. We only need the name, not name, we don't have name. We only need address, sorry, password, and the pin. We only need pin and password, and we don't need this stuff or anything. So whenever we submit, we can do console log to see whether we have that data or not. I'm gonna say pin and password like that, and now we are back in new user. Okay, no problem. Now this is where our form is. We cannot see because there is an error now. Let's fix the error, and then you can see the form. So the first thing we need to say, instead of user registration, you need to say update your password. And the another thing I want to show here, okay, if this is matches how we did in the form before, this is from the network. If we have success, we will show success. If we fail, we show fail here. from our server. You can put spinner as well, how we did in our reset password component. Yeah, how we did this spinner, we can do that as well. I'm just gonna do same. Make sure the spinner is imported from our React Bootstrap. Yeah, and from here now actual form. The form has on handle submit, which we already looked into it. And we have this input field. We need pin here, not OTP. I'm gonna say OTP, and that's the name is pin, and its type is number, value. So we're gonna need this both now. The value is not coming from new user now. The value is coming from new password. That's our initial object here, coming through our use state. That's OTP or pin, and the for password is password, and confirm password is confirm password. And this is just the based on our validation check here, and we put our different condition. We want the specific length, uppercase, lowercase, number, character, and password matching. Based on that, we are now showing this condition. So here, if you look this, it's just nothing. If password matches, say if password doesn't match it, say password doesn't match. And these one are like checking like for the one has enough length or not, a character or not, and has at least one uppercase or not. Based on that, text success gives us the green color, and text danger give us the red color. That's the utility class from the Bootstrap. So we're just passing the class name to each ELI item. Okay, we can go down now, and on button we are also disabling button if there is any error. I mean, if one of these like condition is fail from our list, we are disabling the button, which we already discussed how it works in our previous tutorial. We don't need is loading here. We already done is loading on the top. And if I save it, should work. If not, let's see what is the error. So error is on line number 41 of the password form. It's saying new user is not defined. Yes, let's go to 41. Okay, so we need to update password to our new password, not new user, and see if we have another new user in line number 63. That must be now. Just update to the new password. Everything else should work. Yeah, I can put the number and the text. I have a preset of password here, that's why it's showing all. Here, this is the preset password, has a lowercase, character, uppercase, and number. And I can say put 1 and 1 to make all this green because they already been set. If we don't have anything, we have to start from beginning. And if I can put all the character, it will say up and good. So okay, the form and validation we borrowed from our user registration form, so that's integrated. So the next thing we need to do is whenever we submit this button or submit this form, we need to call another API. If you remember in our API section, in our client API project, we have in our HTTP here. Now we want to send that form to this URL endpoint as a patch method. So let's create a function that calls this API how we did before with the password. So all I need is just this API endpoint, and if I go back to my front end API folder, not back end, go to front end API folder, inside the password API, I can simply make a copy of this, and now I need to create a new URL endpoint. I'm gonna copy that and say not OTPs, I'm gonna say save or update password, pass URL, where the URL should be this one. So I already have the root URL there up to there, so I need to update this part. Okay, exactly same. That's good because we are just changing our verb here. Now it's patch. That's the beauty about using REST API standard. So if I call patch, even though we have a same root URL endpoint, same URL API endpoint, it will still send separately based on the based on the method. So now we are going to send the form data. That's going to have more than one email. So I'm going to say pass obj. That's what I'm gonna receive as it here, and everything should be same. Now we can update the name, update password. I'm gonna say update user password, and now save that. So for this one, we need to now trigger from our action. Let's go to our action, user password action. Here now we can again copy whole thing and start working on that. So now this one was for the action that we were sending the email to get the OTP. Now this one to actually update the password. Now I can say update password only. And okay, before that we need to make sure we import that new function that we created in our password API so that we can utilize this down in our update password. So we're going to receive a password object or form data. So because we're going to dispatch in from our password reset component, and we'll receive form as well as dispatch as a higher order function here, and we have to work something here. Let's see if we try to utilize the same state as this one in our slice. Maybe we can just reuse this one. Okay, I want to see we have using this one. So let's, in our password slice, I want to make a copy of this OTP request success. Now I want to make a save password success or update password success. In this case, we don't need this one. Just leave it. So everything is same. So I want to just make, so whenever we call this one, we show a new form. That's why we need to have this. And here, this, we don't need that. So just, we will export this one out of here as well as our action creator. And let's import that in our action as well first. Okay. Now we can utilize same state for updating password as well. So now whenever, okay, we're not working on this. So whenever we are updating password, we will receive form data from our component. Okay, don't worry, we'll come back and fix that. Line number 52, password action line number 52. Sorry, password action line number 30. Line number 30, password action. Okay, reset password. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, we are working on that, don't worry. So first, let me go through the function here. First, we created a function and exported called update password. We're going to receive form data from user, the component, and we will call that. We'll dispatch this function, and with this data, we'll receive the dispatch as well. And first thing first, we're going to do OTP pending. Yeah, we should have changed the name. Just leave it for now, and then we'll come back later if we have to update. But we want to utilize the same state here. You can create another one, but let's see with this first. And then we're going to call our API function that calls our API here. And now we need to send this form data as a data. And whatever we receive, if it's success, we're going to do update pass success status with the message. If it is fails, we can reuse all the other action as well. And now we need to import this update password in action in our password not OPT form. Now update password form. Let's import that like how we did before in our this password form, like this one. Okay, let's import this in our component. So I'm gonna import here. I'm gonna say import. It's from our same file, actually same folder, and the password action like that. And we need to use import dispatch as well from the React Redux, import Redux, and here we have that use dispatch. Let's define that. Okay, we have already done here. Sorry guys. Normally I use all this function export before the component import before the component import. That's why I got confused. So use define dispatch is used. Now we can call this dispatch method in our onHandle. See in our form here, whenever we submit the form, that calls onHandle submit. OnHandle submit here, we can dispatch to that action that we just imported here, update password, and pass the data and pass the object. So let's create new object here. So const a new pass obj equals to object where I will have pin and password, and also I need email. Well, how do I get the email? That's a good question here. Actually, big question. I don't have email anyway. So what I can do, we don't have access to email anyway, because let me comment out and let's send this one out anyway, and let me show you what happens if I just call it. If we go to our API here, before I just call it here, I'm just gonna console log this out and see. So let's say we have pin, everything we have here, and if we go to console, if I submit that, so don't worry about this message now. See, I have only pin, password, because our form is, I cannot access to another form. If we go to this reset password page here, remember we only have one form, another form is commented out. So I think let's work on that before we are talking anything else. So now in our state we have this show option form. So let's access to this property, and based on that we show this form. That's in the password slice. That must be small case, and make sure we update wherever we are using that is here. That's the only one place. Okay. So in order for us to access that value in our password page, we need to use again the use selector from the React Redux. So you guys already know now how to use selector, right? So use selector there, and here I'm gonna use that right below here, say const. I only need that particular value, I don't need everything else. State.password. We're only returning our password from our state, and I'm only interested in show option form. I can destructure here like that, and if this is true, now we can do like a ternary operator here. If this one is true, true, we show this form, otherwise we show another one. So we need to show this form, otherwise we show this one. Hang on, we don't need switch here, we can remove that. So this is all good here, we don't have to do anything. Let's go work on other stuff like the action way, or before that let me go to API folder and API file. Let me check quickly something. If we just put any email, okay, we have network error. All right, before we go to that, I want to show you, like, if we change our initial value of our slice, password slice here to false, before I save, we can see this here. From this one, if I save this file, it will convert our page to update password on here. This is what we want to achieve. So that happens automatically if we receive success on our OTP request here. So that will work automatically. I think we should just put one link here, go to login as well. Go to the reset component. This login row, I rather put this one in the page here, the parent component underneath here. I'm not even using row here, so I don't think I need any of that. Let's see how it looks quickly. Okay, our login is showing here. Let me see where is that problem coming from. Let's go to style sheet and say form box has maybe height. I'm gonna say main height, so that we can have access to the more room in the page if we need. We maybe just put underneath here. I'm just gonna put in the div, and then we can install that later. Okay, so just login now. I'm just gonna leave as it is for now, so that we have access to our login. Okay, now if we go to our slice again, we need to make some adjustment there. So instead of OTP forms, update password, I'm gonna say update pass form. I made slight change here, guys, now. So update pass false for now, and let's update this one now state as well. Was here, so make it true. So now the state variable is different. Change that, because this is now changing our state here. If this is true, then so this is what I wanted to do before, and I got confused, and then again redo it again. Sorry about that, guys. So by default we have that. So if we update our state through our slicer here, so when we update to true, then this form will become the other form that we saw before. Okay, what we're supposed to be doing now is to connect our form. Now, okay, we got so many things open here. I'm going to close it and go again so that you guys don't get confused. So now we are working on our front end component called password update form. Here, now we will receive our email, PIN, password, and confirmation. And then once we submit that, we will on handle submit here. We will submit all of the email, password, and we have access to password and email. So what I wanted to show is basically if we just send the email that is not valid, okay, of course we cannot put that. If we put invalid email here, now the email part was in the previous form. So we're supposed to send email from this form as well. When we submit here, in our state we have email, sorry, the OTP. We will have OTP from here and password from here. But we don't have where are we going to get the email from, right? Because the other form before is the sibling component of this component. So we cannot pass data between component. But what we can do, whenever we were, remember, calling our users action here, whenever we are calling our user action, this one here, whenever we have this data success, we have email access to this action, right? Maybe we should update this email as well. Maybe I want to send this email to our OTP request here and store in our state like that. And now whenever we go to password slice here, as a payload we will have access to message and the email here where in OTP request success. So I want to also create the another state called email so that we have access to our another form, and from there we can update from OPT request success here. I'm gonna pass this after the message. I'm gonna say email equals to now payload dot email, because payload gonna be now object, not the message itself, and dot message. Okay, the email, okay, make sure you type properly. So that means we have now access to our email in our state. Now we can get that email from our state. Let's check quickly, make sure to receive that. Go to the Redux, and here if we put email and submit, now we have in our state we have email as well. Now we can grab that email from this component, which is password update form. And remember how we use selector before to grab other stuff here from state password. Now we can get the email as well. And so form, we don't need this one here. We are handling that from the parent component, which is the save password page. So now we can pass this email whenever we are submitting form. So we can just pass this email here. And what happens whenever we have PIN, password, and email, and we call this action will pass this form data and calls this update password user password function, and that sends the data to, now we need to create a new update password URL, send to that update password URL with those data. Now if I just save that, instead of returning here, just return everything here, and this one will return to our action here as a status and message, and everything is same as what we did before here. And also if we want to show this message in our component, when we copy paste from the user registration form, those one already been there. So here if we have a message, we'll display the message, and we'll display the is loading as well. I think everything should work. If not, we will fix it and make it work. So if we just send the invalid email address, even though we get this message, we don't have anything. OTP not gonna come in our server. So in the server, we're not gonna get our OTP. But as you remember, our email, valid email is, what is it? e2e.com. And now go back again, sorry. If we do reset password here, now we will get our OTP, link to it actually. There you go. And now open this, and now we have this pin number. I'm gonna just copy this pin here, and then let's go to our form, and in OTP I'll post this pin, and the password is already predefined. At the end I'm gonna just add 1 and 1. That's I just put in the initial state of the component, so that I don't have to type all. And now if I submit the request, okay, new password is required. So the way we're sending data is not accepted in our server. Maybe we should quickly check what our server expecting. So go to our user router where we are receiving password. So we are receiving email, password, and new password in this form. And we also have a password server side validation. I want to quickly check there since we already here. The validation expects email, pin, password. And let me see what email is supposed to means. Email, schema, object type email, pin is just a number here, and the new password is alphanumeric. I want to change, I don't need alphanumeric. We can just say string for now. So minimum 3, maximum 30 character, and it's required. So make sure now we update that our form data accordingly. So go to the update form component, and on submit event, on handle submit event, now the new password should be new password. So since we already have this password thing and new password defined there, I can simply keep like after destructuring, whenever we creating new object for the new password send, there I can pass this new password, and we assign this value to new password. That's what the format our server expects. So now let's go quickly check the thing one more time. a2@a.com, reset password. Let's get our OTP. Yeah, I think that's the latest one. Okay, and go to our form. I'm gonna put 1 and 1 and submit. Your password has been updated. Now I know what this password is because I have that in my state. Let's check and try to log in if we have succeeded or not. Before that, I know what's the password. So if I try to do again, what happens? Okay, there is some warning throwing in our server. Cannot read ID of null property in our router, user.router.js in 192. Let's fix that as well, since there is a bug which we didn't know. There you go, we found one. Router, user router, line number 192. So to prevent that bug, we can use this no list operator. Where is it? I think line number 192. You can do this way, or we can do 192. Where is 192? Here. Simply pass the question mark here. So this is, I think, ES 2021. That means if this value has a value, then only checks the other value inside it. Otherwise, it will just return false from here. So this one should make that error go. Now let's try to update. There you go, unable to update your password. Please try again later. That's what is going to happen because the pin doesn't exist. And now I want to grab what the password is. Let's go reset password component again in local state. So this is the password, and plus I put 1 at the end. So if I go to login now, and okay, we already have email, password with 1, and if I log in, yeah, now we able to finally reset the password and can log in. So I think that's everything about this tutorial. Now you have seen how to use OTP to reset the password. Somebody mentioned in the previous video comment in YouTube saying that how if somebody wants to do password reset based on the email and the mobile number. Look, the guys, process is exactly same. So if you want to make your password update or send OTP to your mobile number, you can basically do same process. Instead of from server, instead of sending this email, see we have a value getting from server, you will have access to user mobile number here. Now instead of sending the email number, sending to the email that OTP, just send to the mobile number. But of course you need to integrate third-party service like a Twilio or something. So that's not part of this tutorial series. So you can do that definitely. Okay. So if you have really problem doing that and you need it, maybe in the future we can make some tutorial and use that messaging service. But for now, as per our plan, we complete this tutorial series. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop this both the server and all the console, everything is there, guys, for you guys to check. I'm gonna push this code to Git Repo so that you have access to this code. So I'm gonna do same thing in our server side because we made some adjustment. So now all the code up to date, and I haven't checked edge cases like how it looks, design, and then maybe it's not like some UI UX you want to improve on all the part which I haven't checked, and I don't want to check as well because you guys can do that. That's basic CSS style. If you have any issue, anything about it, you can always write me message in the comment section down below, or join me in the Discord channel and you can ask any question there. There might be some bug here. If you want to report it, you can report me, or put in the comment section message down there, and then let's see if somebody can fix it and can share it as well. Otherwise, if I have to fix that and update it, maybe I can do that and update another video as well. I haven't been to the Trello for a very long time, so not sure what we wanted to do, how far we did, and okay, this whole part is still to be done. I'm very slow with this project, so I think now I can safely say that all this is done. So basically all the front end and API part is all done here, and I think new feature also added which I haven't updated here, and our deployment and the admin part is still to be done. I think this is gonna be another long way to go, guys. I'm not sure, it depends on my time and availability. Yeah, if you want to check this one, it's also in the description down below. So yeah, that's all for this. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you get some value from this tutorial, and if you have been following along all the way from beginning and made this far, then congratulations, you have learned really important skill that you can use and get job in the market. So if you did like this tutorial or like this tutorial series, please give me a thumbs up, and if you have any question, love, hate, or feedback, please write it in the comment section down below. And also don't forget to subscribe if you want to receive more tutorial like this related to full stack development. And in the next tutorial, probably I'm going to show you how to use Docker and Dockerize all this application, front-end, back-end database, and the Redis database as well. And after that, I will make another video showing how to deploy to AWS. And after that, we'll be working on the admin side of this application. So if you haven't already, guys, be sure to subscribe the channel so that you receive all the tutorial series notification. Till then, guys, code every day, be awesome, and I'll see you next. Bye for now.